Welcome to the Stack Supplement Podcast, the premier source for supplement news and reviews.
We are back with another episode of the Stack Supplement Podcast, where we take you through all of the exciting news stories and announcements shared on our site from the past 7 days. I will mention that later this week we have another one of our interview episodes where we talk to one of the big leaders, one of the big thinkers behind Glaxon, and Sam Strange, and he's going to talk to us about pretty much everything Glaxon, from products to upcoming products to inspiration to ideas to thinking to creativity to pretty much everything Glaxon, which is awesome. As I've mentioned several times before on this podcast, of all the new brands out there, that Glaxon has just been just a shining star. Even compared to companies that aren't new, Glaxon has just been doing an incredible job at making a name for itself, to the point where it feels like it's been around for like 1 or 2 years. Although despite the fact it's actually only been around for about 6 months. They launched in November of last year. So that will be an exciting interview. I believe we're dropping that on Wednesday or Thursday. But for this episode, we're going to be doing our usual just summary of all of the news stories shared from the past week. And we're going to jump into it with a brand that we've mentioned more than enough on this podcast, and that is Core Nutritionals. As you will know, or as we would have mentioned, Core is coming out with a vegan protein, a plant-based, vegan-friendly protein, and they plan on dropping that on June 8th. So I think it's the second Monday of next month, which, with this being the last week of May, is not actually that far away. So I think when this airs, you got about 2 weeks until we see the launch of that. But this past week, Core basically revealed everything about the product. While we did already know that it was coming in June, and we did know what flavors it was launching in, we didn't really know too much about, I guess, what's actually in it, what's actually all of its finer details. Core finally confirmed all of the important info for Core Vegan, and it's pretty solid. So the product's going to have 21 grams of protein, so a little more than that 20 that you typically see with vegans, which is also a little less than your typical whey protein at 25. With 3 grams of fat and 2 grams of carbs for around 110, 120 calories. We don't know if those calories are correct. We're just basing that off the macros they provided. And there'll be 3 flavors to choose from. As mentioned, we already confirmed those. And they will be maple pancake batter, chocolate brownie batter, and mixed berry. Now, the big details they shared this week are that the sources of protein in the product are going to be pea protein and brown rice protein, a typical blend, plant-based of course, being that it's a vegan-friendly protein powder. But in addition to those plant sources, Core is actually going to be using added BCAAs. You may have noted, we mentioned this, I'm pretty sure it was last week's episode, where we talked about Morphogen Nutrition, who is also doing the same thing. And although theirs just hit the market, they added BCAAs into their plant-based protein powder, as most plant-based protein powders are lower in BCAAs, naturally occurring BCAAs. So the thought process was to add in extra BCAAs to bring its BCAA levels up to be more like a whey protein, and your typical whey formula. Core Vegan is doing pretty much the same. That's the thought process behind adding their BCAAs. And they added pretty much the same at a gram per serving. So that will be dropping June 8th. You can read a little more about it on the site. We haven't seen the label for it yet. We just posted it with a blank little image that we created. But it'll feature that same branding that we've seen on all of the brand's other supplements released this year, including Fury, Pump, and the revamped Core Pro and ISO, as well as, of course, Core Greens. From Core Nutritionals, we move next to a brand that had quite a bit of news and excitement to share last week, and that was the legacy brand Animal. They kicked the week off by just launching their Animal Pack, or Animal Immune Pack, on Amazon. Now, this is, if you've been following the site, this is Animal's immune supporting spin-off of the original Animal Pack. It's a pack-style supplement that comes with ingredients primarily for immune support. So it's not necessarily an immune enhanced version of Animal Pack, more or less just an immune health supplement that you can use with Animal Pack to add those benefits. And originally it was only available as a free product that people working on the front line could claim by reaching out to the brand. But you can now grab it on Amazon. I believe it's $27.95. $27.95 for 30 servings per jar. The other news we saw from Animal, there were two other stories in fact. The next one, following from the Immune pack, was another flavor for the Animal Pro bar. Now this is the protein bar they launched in September of last year at the Olympia. They introduced it in two flavors. There was a peanut butter one, I believe there was a berry one, and then earlier this year they dropped a brownie or a chocolate, more traditional chocolate brownie. This past week they introduced a cookies and cream, giving a total of 4 flavors. It still features that 20 grams of protein per bar, similar to the macros at 21 grams of carbs, 7 grams of fat for 230 calories, and the same kind of build with that sweet milk chocolate outer filled with crispy pieces, and then the 2 layers on the inside, the bottom looking like a nice brownie base, and then the top looking more of a cream, so fitting perfectly with that cookies and cream flavor. The other announcement, as I mentioned, Animal certainly had a big week. Typically, we don't see all that much news from that brand at least 3 times in 1 week. But the other announcement they dropped or shared was that they introduced another immune support version, much like Animal Immune Pack. This is Juiced Immune Aminos, or Juiced Aminos Immune, whichever you want to say it. But this is a little bit different in the sense that the Animal Immune Pack was a dedicated immune support supplement using that classic Animal Pack name. This Juiced Aminos Immune, or Juiced Immune Aminos, this is an immune-infused version. So it has everything that the original does. The regular Juiced Aminos with its 2 blends of amino acids. And then it has immune support ingredients on top of that with added vitamin D, vitamin C, and zinc. So again, this is quite a bit different from the Animal Immune Pack, which is like I said, a separate immune health supplement. And this is just an immune-infused version. Same kind of thing, providing immune benefits to support and strengthen your immune system, with the overall difference being that, it's infused with the original supplement, not a separate product entirely. Next up, we have news of another flavor of the popular Bang energy drink. As we've seen the brand do several times, they haven't revealed the name of it. They've just kind of shown off what the packaging is going to look like. And it is, to be honest, it's pretty much looks a lot like Rainbow Unicorn. It's got that blue with the pink accents, although the pink on this occasion is a little more intense, a little thicker, a little dense. And it's got a bit of purple in there as well. But we don't know anything about the flavor. We don't know if it's going to be any kind of candy thing. We don't know if it's going to have any kind of sweet taste to it. We just know the colors, and that coming from Bang, it's going to be something interesting. I have to imagine it's going to be something interesting. While when we saw Rainbow Unicorn, we originally thought it was going to be a bubblegum flavor. I actually get the same vibe and feel on this one, just because it's got that color, that light blue, that pink. I don't know if it's going to be that, though. Just like I said, that was what we guessed for Rainbow Unicorn. It didn't turn out to be that, so I wouldn't be surprised if this is not in that realm either. But I guess we're just going to have to wait to find out on that one. Moving along, we go to news from Halo Top. Halo Top, of course, the very popular frozen food company, known for its original high-protein ice cream. They announced this past week, well, not even announced, I think they announced it a couple weeks ago, and we only just shared it. They have come out with new versions of their Halo Top Pops. Now, these are pretty damn tasty, to be honest. I enjoy them a little bit better than I actually like the original ice cream. It's a little more compact, and it feels like it's got a little more flavor in there. But they announced a new version. Now, the new version is actually quite interesting. The original Halo Top Pops are staying. That they've been changed to a different name. They're now referred to as the Halo Top Pops Minis. So they're staying the original size, keeping everything the same, flavors and all that. The new Halo Top Pops, they're going to be called Halo Top Pops. They're just bigger. They appear to have kind of the same macro balance, and it just on a bigger scale, as the pops themselves are practically double the size, if not a little bit more. The originals had 2 to 3 grams of protein, while these new ones have 5 to 6. And the other macros are pretty much in the same kind of realm as the original, with 2.5 to 4 grams of fat, 18 to 19 grams of carbs, and still reasonably low calories overall when you're talking about just a treat to throw down, 90 to 110. The sugar is also, I mean, it's not super low, but it's compared to your traditional ice cream on a stick, it's not too bad, 8 to 10 grams. And yeah, the key here is just that it's bigger, that they're much bigger, as mentioned, or I think they're about twice the size, I think, if not a little bit more than that. And the other key thing is that it's got a completely new menu. The original had 4 flavors to choose from. It was a chocolate chip cookie dough, strawberry cheesecake, mint chip, and peanut butter swirl. For the new larger Halo Top Pops, which are now, as mentioned, just called the Halo Top Pops, and the old ones are minis. There are 5 flavors to choose from. There is strawberry swirl, sea salt caramel, brownie batter, dark chocolate caramel, and mint chip, with mint chip obviously being the only one from the previous menu. They all feature that signature flavored ice cream that the Halo Top Pop original lineup had, with a nice swirl in the middle, except for mint chip, which is mint flavored ice cream with chocolate chips sprinkled throughout. You can find out a little bit more on our site. We go into a bit of detail about the more exact macros, but again, they're just pretty much slightly bigger double versions with double the macros. So it's pretty interesting, because to be honest, like I said, I liked the originals. I've had several times. I've even had some of them in the UK, and they're a pretty nice treat to throw down. Great for a nice little craving. A better alternative to obviously mainstream sugar-loaded ice creams. And yeah, it's a pretty solid snack. And now they're just twice as good, twice as more to enjoy. But again, it is double the size, twice the calories, so it's a trade-off, obviously. And we move from Halo Top now to Morphogen Nutrition. Now, I just mentioned Morphogen Nutrition in regards to Core Nutritionals, new Core Vegan, and that's they're adding 1 gram of BCAAs to their formula to bring up the BCAA balance, which is what Morphogen Nutrition did, who I believe we talked about in the last week's episode. And so this past week, while they did just launch their vegan-friendly protein, so wouldn't expect too much from them following a big launch like that, we didn't get news of any new releases. What we got news of was confirmation of what's coming between now and the end of the year. Now, Morphogen Nutrition, I mean, we only just started sharing news on them, and the only reason we stumbled across them is someone mentioned to us that they're a solid brand worth watching. They pump out new stuff. They may be kind of small scale, and on a premium side, they pump out new products better and faster than anyone else. And since we started following them, that has definitely proven to be true. In the first few months alone, they've done their pre-cardio formula. What was that one called? Thermogen. And then just more recently, we got the kidney health product with name is gonna bug me. I think it was Nephrogen. And then, as mentioned, you just got more recently their vegan-friendly plant-based protein powder, Vegagen. So they've not been slacking in the first few months. However, in the coming months, like we're 5 through, June will be pretty much one more before we're halfway through the year, they have got the best way to describe it, and we didn't say this on the site, is they've got a shitload of stuff coming. And that's putting it lightly. And this is what they have planned for between now and the end of the year. And they've got a mountain to drop. If they drop all of these as planned, they're going to be pumping out what I suspect to be more than what we saw Inspired do last year, who went on to win our brand of the year. Now, while we don't know how much of an impact these products are going to have, as mentioned, like Inspired put out a lot last year, but a lot of those had big impact with their even FSU, their greens, like a lot of their supplements were huge, highlighted, noteworthy products. We don't know if that's the case with all these Morphogen ones. But what we do know is we're in for a ton of new releases from the brand, and a lot of them are going to be for some pretty interesting categories, although we only know the names of the products. We don't know precisely what they're going to be, so at the moment we're just speculating. But in total, Morphogen confirmed that between now and the end of the year, it's dropping 8 entirely new products, and then 15 plus new flavors for already available products. So that is that is a shitload. And that I mean, even if you total it all up, you have to count that a lot of those new products as entirely new ones, the 8. Some of those will be more than one flavor as well. So if you count just individual flavors, it's going to be intense. As mentioned, the company did confirm what a lot of these things are. They didn't go into detail, but on the flavor side, we're going to be getting 1 to 2 new flavors for Alpha Gin and Volugen, 2 to 3 for Synthogen and Vegagen. Vegagen, which, as mentioned, is the one they just launched. So they've not only have they just launched that one, they're already planning multiple new flavors for later in the year. That's just insane to think, and good on them for just pushing the pressure. 2 more flavors for adaptogen, and then 4 to 5 new flavors for their protein powders, Protogen and Macrogen. So, as I said, that's 15 minimum. I think I counted that 15 for. So if we had seen on those occasions where I said 1 to 2 new flavors or 2 to 3, if we're seeing at the end, we could be seeing 20 plus. Which again, 20 plus new flavors in any brand is huge. So again, true to what I was told last year about Morphogen, they really do pump shit out. They are just, he's aiming big, the team at Morphogen. But as mentioned, there are 8 entirely new products coming as well from the team, and we don't know the categories, just the names, and they are Morpho Pump, Maxogen, Dermogen, Somogen, Carnogen, and then what sound to be 2 straightforward products with collagen and emodin. Again, I suspect those are what's in the products. And then there's going to be a Morpho Bar, which, again, so based on these names, we can only speculate because the team didn't confirm what the categories are. But my guess is Morpho Pump is obviously a pump product. Dermogen, I'm thinking somewhere in the beauty, health, skin category. Carnogen, gotta be a carnitine-based fat burner or carnitine-based supplement. And things like Morpho Bar, you have to imagine there's going to be a protein bar. And I'm always very interested to see companies be putting out protein bars for the first time. Only because the likes of Morphogen, you can almost guarantee it's not going to be that traditional build. There are a lot of companies out there that have kind of the same protein bar, so it's hard to sort of like it when it's something you've experienced before and it's presented as all new. But knowing Morphogen, I have to imagine it's going to be something different. It's going to be something that I haven't experienced. It's going to be something new and exciting, or at least different, as that's really the way that Morphogen seems to be going. As mentioned with its products earlier in the year, I mean, they've expanded in so many different directions with so many different types of supplements that you just wouldn't see in your traditional supplement company. The pre-cardio formula Thermogen is a great example. Most only have fat burners. They have a specific energy boosting thermogenic supplement for cardio. And then you've got the dedicated kidney health supplement, which again is not something you see from many companies. They'll generally put it all into like a one health formula. It may have a 1 or 2 ingredients in it or a blend for kidney health. You won't see them doing an entirely dedicated supplement. So Morphogen is really proving to me, even though we've only been following it for a short while, it's just proving very quickly why they're a brand to watch, why they're a brand to follow. They don't have the fireworks and the big fantastic marketing you get from a lot of these companies, but they're putting all that effort back into their supplements, back into their formulas, back into their new development. So it's exciting to see, and I'm glad I'm really following them. And so between now and the end of the year, it's gonna be fun. If they're delivering these products consistently, we're in for at least 2 to 3 products every month, and pretty much on average 2 to 3 new products, entirely new products every 2 months. More than 1 new product every month, basically. So it's going to be a fun end of the year for Morphogen, and you can count on us following along and sharing all of those details along the way. The last story we have, and this was a pretty damn big announcement. It came pretty early in the week, in fact, right on the Monday, Tuesday, and that is Ghost coming out with a beverage line. Now, a lot of the more specific details, the more behind details were really confirmed. So basically, from my perspective, Ghost has teamed up with a beverage company, a beverage giant, you could say. They've been in the industry for a while. I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce their name. I think it's like, no, I'm not going to say it, but shortened, people refer to it as ABI. Big company, big distribution company, and they've been around for a while. And so Ghost has basically partnered with them for a subsidiary. So this isn't like Ghost. This is sort of something that's been created from the two. And what this subsidiary or sub-brand is going to be doing is going to be making a line of Ghost branded beverages. And obviously ABI is going to be handling the distribution, and being a veteran in that space, it's going to give Ghost a reach, just a giant reach right out of the gate, beyond any other kind of sports nutrition brand, I guess, who's ever launched with drinks. It's just, I mean, there probably are some, but it's just going to give Ghost a foot in the door right away, right from the get-go. So even though Ghost hasn't confirmed really what beverages it's launching, it's huge news, because it's going to put them into spaces that they're not necessarily in. It's going to put that Ghost brand in places that it isn't already. It's going to give it like a more mainstream distribution, a mainstream shelf space. It's just going to be huge for the brand, regardless of what drinks and beverages it comes out with, I guess, to have that kind of presence on the market right away. And I think that's the enormity. That's the biggest part of this announcement, the most exciting part. I'm more of a product guy. I get more excited by the products. I still hunt down America Energy by buying straight from their site because I like the taste. But you just can't deny the enormity, the excitement, the size of the announcement, and the opportunity it's going to give Ghost to really just take on that beverage space in such a big way. And I mean, it's an area the company hasn't even touched. It's got no edible products, let alone beverage. So I mean, it's exciting to see. But in our post, if you go to the site, just type in Ghost, you'll see it there. We obviously speculated into what beverages the company's coming out with. Now we've seen them tasting drinks in a can, or canned beverages. Now that's really the only thing we have to go for what they have coming. But we obviously speculated Ghost has to be doing your traditional sports nutrition categories. That's what I'm thinking they're doing. You have to imagine. So obviously we're talking protein RTDs, energy drinks, amino drinks, maybe a few things out of there. But it's, traditionally those are the kind of the main areas Ghost is planning to, or we have to imagine Ghost is going to be taking on, as that's the most common areas. And another thing Ghost did mention is that it's not going to be, it didn't say it's going to be doing anything over complex, overly advanced. It's going to be staying true to the category. Now, based on that, you have to imagine that then that means they're going to be entering categories that are established enough to have a true theme or consistency. So again, based on them saying that, I have to think we're going to be in for protein RTDs and energy drinks. Maybe an amino beverage, but I mean, that's not as common in the US as like Europe, where you've got Nocco and even there's a lot of them, but none of them are coming to mind right now. And there's quite a few out in Europe, specifically Scandinavia, that do those amino beverages, and they're enhanced with a bit of caffeine. But yeah, I suspect energy drink and I suspect protein RTD, and that would play perfectly into Ghost, who has Ghost Whey and Ghost Legend, their pre-workout. And with those names already well established, it would be seamless for them to just do a Ghost Legend energy drink or a Legend energy drink, and a Ghost Whey protein RTD or Ghost Whey RT or Whey RT, whatever the name. It just plays straight into it, and it would be a great extension from those products that are already well established and have been in Ghost line since they launched 3 years ago, I think. And it would. The other thing that I was extremely excited when they said this, because I'm like, they're going to do it. You have to imagine they're going to be doing some collab flavors, like a Chips Ahoy protein RTD, a Warheads Ghost Legend or energy drink, whatever. Like, you have to imagine that's going to play a role. So I just can't wait to see what they've actually done. While the distribution, I think the distribution is great news, because obviously the bigger reach a company has and the better presence a company has, the more return and ability they have in putting back into the brand and the supplements. While that is big, I'm just more excited to see what they've come up with. Much like when I was talking about Morphogen, and how they're potentially entering the bar market and all the other categories they plan on taking on, I'm always excited to see what brands that I've come to enjoy and rely on and expect quality products from. I'm always excited to see what they've come up with when they enter new categories, and Ghost, not just taking on energy drink, taking on beverage itself is big, because even if they were just doing energy drink, that's exciting, but they've opened themselves up to multiple types of beverages. Protein RTD and energy drink are just two. They could go into several other areas with this. It's a pretty big deal, and with that distribution power from ABI. So I'm excited to see what they come up with. My guess is energy drink and protein RTD. I mean, I could be wrong. They could do something else entirely. And the other thing is, being Ghost, it is worth mentioning that I did ask them, because I was curious, how much control do you have in terms of the whole process, the whole production process, and they mentioned that ABI is just handling distribution. That's where it ends. Ghost takes care of branding, marketing, innovation. So anything, pretty much whatever goes into the product is from Ghost, and that's what they explained it. And ABI's responsibility is the distribution. So it is going to be very much a Ghost product. It's going to be entirely from them. So I'm very excited to see what it turns out. Again, the distribution is cool, but I can't help but wait to see. They told me it's coming out this summer, or at least the first product in this beverage subsidiary with Ghost and ABI. Again, no confirmation on what the categories are, but it's going to be a fun summer. It's going to be an exciting return for them, as a lot of places come out of lockdown, and we'll obviously be sharing all of the details as it comes in, and hopefully get to try some. Being big fans of energy drinks, with our favorites still being very much our favorites, with the raised energy drink, the America energy drink, Rain as well. I'll be excited to see how it compares, how it stacks up. And based on their supplements tasting damn good, you have to imagine that these beverages are going to deliver just as well, with everything from innovation, ingredients, and flavor being in their control and in their hands. So thank you for tuning in for this week's episode. As mentioned, we have an interview with Sam Strange from Glaxon coming later this week, probably dropping Wednesday, Thursday. And stay tuned for that.